Yeah. Just looking at this Washington State false reporting. Yeah. No, a person who intentionally and in bad faith knowingly makes a false report of alleged abuse or neglect. Yeah. Misdemeanor, poach. But then there's the failure to report. 364 days or $5,000. Yeah. Now, there's what's known as Guam. Yeah. You know, when Heidi had me arrested on Guam, I did 7 hours of parenting classes. Oh, yeah. But the concern was the argument, and it really wasn't domestic violence approach. It was we had been married for 10 years. Yeah. Now, when she got here and alleged domestic violence and child abuse, yes, without me being given any due process, no notice or opportunity to be heard, yes. And then you had me arrested after she filed for dissolution of marriage. For the allegation of domestic violence, trying to contact her through a third party that happened to be the Domestic Violence Advocacy Charity of Quitman County. 20 days later, false reporting because of a dissolution of marriage. And every time you reissued it because you said that, well, he's crazy. Exactly how is it that you thought I was in Sequim, Washington at 7:47 a.m.? Because it must have been a false police report. And then why was it that you said I was in Brennan, Washington when I was in front of the Masonic Temple that day and I was at the senior center, coach? And these employees of the federal government that have their residences in the District of Columbia, yes, they have an obligation as a resident of the District of Columbia to have to report any false police reports. Yes. They have to report any child abuse or child neglect. Yes. Now, just looking at the District of Columbia, looks like you can get up to 6 months in jail for this. Are there any employees of the federal government that have their actual residence? Yes. Failure to report annotated code 4-1321.07. Any person in the federal government that happens to be a resident of the District of Columbia that's required to make a report under the reporting laws, who willfully fails to make such a report shall be fined no more than the amount set forth, $1,000, or imprisoned for no more than 180 days, or both. Yes. But then there's the false reporting. Now, when I emailed the District of Columbia Police Department a copy of RI.PDF where at least one of the signatures is a forgery, yes. And the petitioner did have to appear in court to be able to issue it, yes. I'm thinking that each and every resident of the District of Columbia that happens to be a federal employee that are required mandatory reporters, I'm going to have them all, every one of them, put in jail. Pooch. Now, I know, not only are you a federal government employee, you happen to be a resident of the District of Columbia. Now, if I separate you from your actual employer, and I look at exactly where your personal residence is, yes, I'm sure that every oath of office, as well as all federal government employees that are mandatory reporters, can be put in jail. Now, I I emailed the District of Columbia Police Department. I know a lot of federal government employees are mandatory reporters. In fact, it's the childwelfare.gov. Could you get me all the federal government employees of childwelfare.gov? Now, I've been arrested numerous times, coach, because of false police reports and false reports to the prosecuting attorney. Yes. And I don't know if I'm still on trial or not, because when I went online, I don't see another court date. Yes. But I reorganized all my paperwork, and I will put in jail every federal government employee of the District of Columbia because